Hello and welcome to this mini course, IP Strategy 101 for SMEs and Startups. My name is Maria Boicova-Wynants, an IP lawyer and IP strategy consultant in love with IP since 2004. In the upcoming lectures, I will unpack IP and IP strategy in simple terms, without legalese, and in total under 100 minutes. This lecture series is available in audio and video format. Video format contains easy to follow visuals, so if you're listening to this as a podcast, head to my YouTube channel for a video version. This is video number 7. If you missed the first 6, I will include the links in the description and at the end of this one. In the previous lecture, I started talking about trademarks. This time, let me address the pitfalls of do-it-yourself trademark filing. But no worries, as I will also share some pro tips for you to stay on course. You can do it. So let's start. If you're determined to tackle your trademark application independently, it's crucial to grasp some fundamental concepts to navigate the process smoothly. It is not a rocket science, but it's best to first learn how to do it. And this is what this lecture is all about. This will probably be the longest one of the series, but I will try to really help you get your head around all the important points. First, it's important to understand that a trademark is registered for a specific territory, meaning that its protection is limited to the jurisdiction where it is registered. This means that even if you successfully register your trademark in one country, it won't automatically be protected in others. Additionally, trademarks are registered for specific classes of goods and services, delineated by the International Classification of Goods and Services, the so-called NIS classification. This classification system ensures that trademarks are only protected for the particular products or services that they are associated with, preventing confusion and overlapping rights. Therefore, before you initiate your trademark application, thoroughly research the territories where you wish to protect your mark and identify the appropriate classes of goods and services relevant to your business. This foundational understanding will already lay the groundwork for a successful trademark application process. Let's start with the where. When it comes to trademark registration, the path you choose determines the breadth of your trademark rights. For securing your trademark, you have 3 distinct roads: national trademark, exclusive rights within a specific country. For example, usually national trademark is if you apply in France or in Germany or in the UK separately, and you will get 3 national trademarks. However, sometimes one national registration can cover several countries. This is the case for the Benelux, where the Benelux application covers immediately Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. Uh, Now you have also the regional trademark. This extends the trademark rights across designated region. For instance, European Union trademark grants protection in all EU member states. International trademark. This is the last route I want to talk about. And first of all, to note, no, you can't get an automatic international registration covering the whole world. This simply doesn't exist. So in fact, it's a little bit of a confusing title. It's only quasi-international in reality, since it's always about specific selection of countries based on your needs, plans, and budget. The process here begins with a national or regional trademark, and then it's followed by the choice to expand this registration to additional countries using the so-called Madrid system. Depending on the specific countries of your choice, you might need to wait for the basic trademark to be actually registered already, or you can further apply almost immediately, still at the stage of trademark application. This depends on whether the country that you're interested in is part of the Madrid Protocol or the Madrid Agreement. In case you're interested in multiple countries, depending, of course, on the specific countries and their number, you might choose to either apply nationally in each of them, or you can explore the regional registration options, or you can immediately target the international route. Also, sometimes it could be beneficial to register the EU trademark as a basis for the international one, irrespective of the fact that you are perhaps not really interested in all the countries of the European Union. All of this is the matter of calculation and comparison. So explore your options and be vigilant of the right timing and sequence of your actions. Choosing your route. The journey to trademark registration involves strategic decisions, especially when targeting multiple countries. How to make this decision? Here are the several considerations that might be handy for you to consider, to take into account. First, assess the geographic scope of your current market presence and your future expansion plans. Determine the countries where your products or services are currently offered or where you intend to enter in the future. Assess where your competitors are. What makes sense for you to protect already? Perhaps there are certain countries where it makes sense for you to be. Next, consider the nature of your business and the goods or services you provide. Are they tailored to a specific region or are they applicable globally? It could be that you don't have immediate expansion plans and not even midterm expansion plans, but you're global by very definition. Take that into account. Additionally, evaluate your budget and resources available for trademark registration. Registering a trademark in multiple countries can be costly and time consuming. So, prioritize jurisdictions based on their strategic significance and potential return on investment. To note also that there might be certain cost saving options to explore. E.g., throughout several years, there was an SME fund in the EU. So, do inform yourself about those possibilities. But in any case, you still need to foresee the budget for trademark registration, maintenance, and enforcement. Then research the legal requirements and trademark registration processes in each of the target countries, taking into account factors such as language barriers, local regulations, which can be different because in some countries you have first to file principle, in some other countries you have first to use principle. And there's also cultural nuances. For example, in China, it's a regulatory requirement for products marketed within its borders to have Chinese character names. This regulation adds a layer of complexity to trademark registration, as registering a trademark in Roman characters does not inherently protect it from potential infringement or registration of a similar mark in Chinese characters. In cases where a foreign brand lacks an existing Chinese character representation, it's highly likely that Chinese consumers will create one through transliteration or translation. Therefore, careful consideration of trademark registration strategy for China is essential. While it's feasible, for example, to extend European trademark registration to China, it's still advisable to also consider applying for an additional national trademark that includes those Chinese characters. This dual approach provides a more robust protection strategy for your assets. It's worth noting that while Japan, for example, also utilizes special characters, the considerations I mentioned before are generally less relevant for that country compared to China, largely due to differences in intellectual property and market practices. So it's also about the culture. In other words, there are quite some attention points in connection with trademark applications. However, by carefully weighing the considerations provided in this lecture, you can navigate the complexities of international trademark registration, ensuring that your brand is protected wherever your journey takes you. If there is an IP lawyer who handles your trademark application, he or she will do that for you. But if you're going the do it yourself route, here is what you need to consider. Start with trademark availability search. Trademark availability search is not that difficult, yet there are quite some attention points to bear in mind. To begin with, trademark databases usually foresee a possibility to search for identical trademarks and similar trademarks. In the search space where you need to enter the desired trademark to search, you can usually pick those search parameters. Never limit yourself to mere identity. You need to make sure that there are no similar ones out there. Second, an important point to remember, again, like I said before, trademark rights are territorial. This means that the same trademark can peacefully coexist in several countries. Take that into account. Third, trademarks could also be registered in regions or internationally, so in several countries simultaneously. Make sure that you search all relevant databases. There are separate ones on the websites of EUIPO, which is the European Union Intellectual Property Office, WIPO, which is the World Intellectual Property Organization, and of course, national patent and trademark offices of the select countries or regions. Also, bear in mind that trademarks can peacefully coexist in different classes. Think about Dove soap, for example, and Dove chocolates. This is perfectly possible because the trademark of Unilever is registered for soaps and beauty products, while the very similar one of Mars Incorporated is registered for chocolate. There could be no likelihood of confusion on behalf of customers as long as the goods remain so different. In the end, it's very unlikely that one would start biting the bar of soap, although chocolate in one's beauty routine could very well be argued. The above two are famous examples, but there are, in fact, more doves out there. Like there's a wordmark Dove registered in the Benelux for fresh fruits and vegetables. There's a wordmark Dove registered for kitchen furniture, bedside tables, and mirrors. There is a figurative trademark Dove registered for telecommunications, for radio and television broadcasting. All of this and many more trademarks coexist only because their lists of goods and services are different, and that's okay. However, some classes can be close enough to enhance the similarity and hence enhance the likelihood of confusion. Think about, for example, class 32, which includes soft drinks and beer, and class 33, which includes different alcoholic drinks. So don't limit the search too much, but do take into account those differences when analyzing the results. Number five is when looking in a trademark database, it's also essential to pay attention to the status of a trademark. The trademark will remain in the database even if it has been cancelled or revoked. And in some cases, this dead trademark can still come to haunt you. Yet this is, of course, to be evaluated on the case by case basis. Now, next, play with the name and also search for the graphical element if available. Certain databases, like for example the one of the Benelux, they provide this option. Sometimes trademarks could be similar even if their word element is not. And it's important for your analysis to catch those ones as well. Now that you're clear on the countries for your application and had a look at the previously registered rights, it's time to determine the list of goods and services. The list of goods and services forms the backbone of your trademark protection, dictating its scope and its reach. Yet quite some common pitfalls they lurk in this crucial step, and here is how to sidestep them. Mistake number one: misalignment with business focus. Avoid the temptation to stray from your core offerings. If your business revolves around meal box subscription for cats, keep your focus sharp. Resist the urge to clutter your list with tangential services like webinars or event sponsorship. Mistake number two: class confusion. Ensure precision in class selection. If your service involves, for example, print and online advertising, you might not need class 16, which is paper goods. You're not actually making paper, you're using it. Instead, pinpoint the class that effectively aligns with the service that you actually provide. Or, for example, you have a startup that intends to bring new software on the market. Do you think that applying for software of class 9 will get you covered? Think again. It depends on the type of software you have in mind. Is it software that users can download to their devices? Or perhaps you are in fact running the software on your own servers on behalf of your customers? Should it be the latter case, this software as a service would rather fall under service class 42 than under class 9. Mistake number three: narrow scope. Don't box yourself in. Anticipate future expansions and select classes accordingly. If you, for example, intend to be offering development of advertising concepts, writing and publication of publicity texts, then you should look into class 35. But if you, at one point in time, also intend to do graphic design of these promotional materials, then this belongs to class 42. Also, remember that once you have applied for a trademark, you cannot later expand the list of goods and services. If you want to add something later, you will need to apply for a new trademark. So, a well rounded list accounts for potential growth without requiring a new trademark application down the line. Obviously, when you were offering graphic design services 20 years ago, for example, you could not have imagined that you would eventually move into 3D printing. Yet, some strategic moves could be predicted and properly protected in advance. Mistake number four: overzealous class inclusion. So while you have to think broad, you also must exercise restraint. Including unnecessary clauses increases the risk of infringing on others' rights. So stick to clauses relevant for your current and for your foreseeable offerings. No pet cages unless you plan on crafting them. Mistake number 5 is a class heading convenience. Resist the allure of class headings. Opting for the catch all class heading might seem convenient, but in fact it invites complications. These class headings are not specific enough to ensure the optimal protection for your trademark. Both absolute and relative grounds for refusal of its registration depend on the list of goods and services. So it could very well be that for certain items on the list, your trademark will be distinctive enough, while for some others, it could be found descriptive. As a consequence, trademark registration could just be refused. Therefore, take time to tailor the selection to your specific business needs, mitigating potential rejection risks. Some additional considerations for you to bear in mind. Trademark protection goes beyond mere word marks and figurative marks or logos. It's a vibrant palette of options catering to your brand's uniqueness. So, when you're designing your trademark portfolio, do not limit yourself to classic word marks and logos. Depending on your business needs, it could make sense to consider a multimedia trademark or a slogan. Overall, there exist the following types: word mark, figurative mark, shape mark, position mark, pattern mark, color mark, sound mark, motion mark, multimedia mark, hologram mark. You can trademark also, for example, a hashtag or a domain name. If they uniquely identify your goods or services in commerce, they're fair game for trademark registration. There are registered trademarks like Just Do It of Nike and Like a Girl of Always for hashtags, or Amazon.com and Bol.com for domain names. You can also trademark a color or a sound, again, if they're unique and distinctive enough. Tiffany Blue and UPS Brown are shining examples of color trademarks. Or think of the iconic Intel or Nokia jingle, or the roar of the MGM line. These unique sounds are trademarked as sound marks. Should you register such a non traditional trademark? Well, that depends on your business model and your business aspirations. Protecting these elements can maintain your brand reputation and offer cohesive brand engagement. If your customers recognize and remember you by certain features that go beyond the name alone, you can and certainly should use it to your advantage. An important caveat though, securing these special non traditional trademarks isn't a breeze. They must be distinctive, non functional, and strongly associated with your brand and consumers' minds. However, in a world where branding transcends visuals, multimedia, position, color, and sound trademarks, they can add a distinctive layer to your brand identity, and this can mean a lot. Most importantly, if these elements matter to your customers and make your brand stand out, don't hesitate to secure protection for them. Finally, you might also want to include flags or heraldic symbols in your trademark. Sometimes it will fly, but most of the time this might be quite tricky. Trademark protection concerning flags and official emblems falls under the Article 6 ter of the Paris Convention. Article 6 ter focuses on flags, armorial bearings, and official emblems of states or international organizations. Trademarks that incorporate these symbols can only be registered in the trademark register with the consent of the relevant state or relevant organization. Flags, they automatically enjoy protection, while state emblems and control marks must be registered in the WIPO 6TER Express database for to benefit from protection. Hence, it might be interesting to check when you're doing your trademark availability search to also check this database as well. To note that flags typically have specific proportions, and deviations from these proportions may not constitute heraldic imitation. So, this is really to be assessed on a case by case basis. Mere imitation of the flag in the form of, for instance, a banner may not be considered problematic. But again, think it through and evaluate it carefully. To conclude, trademark protection is a tapestry of possibilities. Each element adds depth and character to your brand. Before I conclude, by now you already know that a registered trademark gives its owner the exclusive right to use and to prohibit any third party from using it in the same territory and for the same goods and services. However, what else can and should be done to secure your chosen name for the business? There are, of course, many aspects to consider, though to begin with, focus on taking care of the following ones. First, it's a good idea to simultaneously with your trademark register a domain name with the same word element. Second, make sure you block or register your mark as a username, as a handle on all the social media outlets. This might come very handy later on when you will be promoting your business. Here, think about all the major social media outlets, irrespective whether you are or if you even intend to be active on them or not. You want to block your virtual space as good as possible. Third one, monitoring your rights is essential after the registration to ensure that no one else is using or infringing upon your trademark. So do perform those regular checks in the trademark databases. Set alerts where it's possible, or ask your trademark lawyer for a trademark watch service. You don't want someone to register similar trademarks for similar goods and services. And if you spot someone do exactly that, then act immediately. If similar trademark is not yet registered, you can launch an opposition against such registration. If it is registered, you can launch a cancellation action and possibly also send the owner of the similar registration a cease and desist letter. In any case, as the owner of earlier trademark rights, you are entitled and actually very much advised to act. Finally, in parallel, monitor also social media and use the available forms to report any infringements of your rights. Usually, just search for trademark infringement plus the name of your social media, and the search engine will give you the right form. Usually, they're pretty straightforward, and platforms also tend to react promptly. This is it from me for today. This course is created based on the book Intellectual Property: The Key to Your Competitive Advantage and is recorded by its author Maria Boicova-Wynants in 2024. This was the seventh lecture of the lecture series Intellectual Property Strategy without legalese and in under 100 minutes. Thank you very much for listening. We still have 3 more lectures in this course, and in the next lecture, I will be talking about protecting your creativity with copyright and industrial designs. Stay tuned.